Welcome to the According to Weeze podcast with me, your host, Louisa Duran, more affectionately known as Weeze. I believe that liberation requires of us the ability to imagine, to reimagine what is into what could be. It requires us to think outside of what is currently possible, to become architects of possibility. So in each episode, we'll candidly examine and explore everything from pop culture to current events and hot topics through this lens. So get cozy, get comfy, and let's dive in. Hey, y'all. Thanks for tuning into part one. Here's part two. Hope you enjoy the conversation.
You know, before this was even trending, when we were fucking kids. So to be in this space where it's like now it is performative and it's supposed to be like my job. It's something where for those of us that are rooted in this work, it is a non-negotiable to continue performing and even presenting in these spaces that we know are not in alignment with our mission. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I can only hope that for a lot of people who do have a lot of passion and are being really effective in what they do, that they open up the idea that there's another way and they don't have to actually, you know, sacrifice their art or their well-being in order to get a movement moving.
Yeah, 100%. Or participate in any kind of movements or actually, you know, I've been saying recently, like, so again, the idea that I've been playing with is like, what level of hypocrisy are we willing to sit with? Because there's hypocrisy in everything, right? And we don't have to participate in our own exploitation. And we certainly don't have to participate in our own dehumanization. You're going to be exploitative, right? Like, I 1000% believe that we should give all land back. We should rematriate all land. And also, I don't have a solution for how we do that in this society. We could keep, right, following Indigenous folks and supporting however they choose to lead us in that mission. And I still got to sit here and be like, and I still got to go to the grocery store to buy groceries because I don't know how to live off the land. I would die.
Period. Right.
So fast. I would die so fast. I can believe all of that and still have to participate in structural capitalism because I would die. Right? So all of that being said, I think the way that I look at Hood Wellness is it's this really beautiful love letter to anyone and everyone who exists in a marginalized body, who is constantly having to do this dance with society, and constantly having to do the dance of, it's almost like it's like the struggle to quote unquote stability dance, right? You could call it success, but success means a lot of different things for a lot of different people. So it's like, how do you do that? And how do you do it in a way that, like you said, you don't have to sacrifice your wellness. For you, a large part of that was communal care. And I mean, community care is obviously a huge tenet and core of liberation ethos across the board. But how are you currently, and obviously definitions can evolve, right? But when are we recording this? May of 2024. How are you currently defining communal care?
You know, first of all, I want to return to the, you know, just like the shame that comes with navigating our intersections that we deal with, right? In a lot of these stories. I hope that, I love that how you receive it. And I hope that that's how others receive it. And it helps to divest and kind of de-shame some of these experiences. A lot of the other contributors that I've spoken to kind of feel the same. There's so much vulnerability in this book, and it's really meant to divest from that place that says we're supposed to be sad that this happened. We're supposed to be sad that our life is this way, but we don't have to be sad.
Sorry.
See, who did you say?
Holly. I mean, everybody's stories were, but like, I started reading the Holly section with what you wrote and what she wrote, and like, I might cry again. I was sitting in public and I just it was so beautiful though at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I'm like, how do I talk about it without talking about it? Because I don't want to ruin it for anyone,
No, it's
because I think
okay.
it's such a beautiful experience to, be able to read it for
Yeah.
yourself. But yeah.
I think it's
Oof.
important. I love anytime that her name comes up.
Yeah.
Holly was a woman from California who was dying of terminal cervical cancer. And instead of, experimental treatment or waiting to get sicker and get in the hospice or any of these things, she decided to drive cross country with her husband and son and their pets. And she wanted to see me in New Orleans. Um, and it was a brief visit. I mean, they were there for like 2 nights.
Yeah.
But it was during that time that she really opened up about not just her experience, but life as she sees it. And it was very important that she was able to share not just, of course, the importance of getting tested, of course, what to look for in the signs. She gave us such a gift in her own journey through discovering that she had cancer and its remission and its recurrence. But she also gave us some serious insight on what life looks like as you are dying and what joy looks like and how it's
Yep.
still present and how it doesn't abandon you and you don't abandon it. And it's so important because besides the fact that, now her story is eternal,
Yeah.
we need to hear that. And there's people out there that need to hear that. I'm so glad you brought her up.
So like I really actually loved, because I don't know that I've seen it done in the way that you did it, like bringing in everybody else's stories to really kind of drive a deeper level of each chapter's point home, almost, right? Like when they were introduced. Um, I've never seen that done, and I think it was beautiful on so many levels, because one, we got to hear from other voices, right? So it really like reaffirms this message that you're getting across. But two, I think about all of the people who have such profound insight to share through their own lived experiences that, for a variety of reasons, are potentially never going to be able to get published, or we don't get to hear from them, right? And so it was also this really beautiful reminder that if you slow down, you can really learn something from everybody, that everybody has an insight, that everybody has something that can move you and reconnect you to humanity and, expand your curiosity. And I don't know, if you even intended for that to be the point. Like, what was the thought there? I know I just took us on another tangent, but what was the thought there for you in terms of bringing these other voices in?
It's funny because there was more than one occasion when I had to really defend this idea that all these
Wow.
stories were going to go together exactly how I saw it going together.
Yeah.
And it was because, first of all, I never want nobody to take my word for it. I don't want my lived experience to be the reference on, my ideology on community care. I always felt like, I hope the reader understands that they don't even got to vibe with me to appreciate this concept and these people and this collective. And it's why I say that it's even the book itself is such a form of community, because it requires all of these different lives, even people that's not alive. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many different people and experiences to express this is how we move forward with one another when this is the challenge. And everybody want a guidebook, you know what I mean? Everybody want to be told what to do. Everybody wants that prompt at the end of the chapter. Everybody wants to feel better and get a little bit of homework.
5 steps.
Yeah, right. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. And I've been told it's really a memoir, and you should take those stories and put them in the back. Put them in the back and make your stories should be in chronological order. And I would always explain that it's not reliant on my story.
Yeah.
You can take any one of my stories and take it out. and that whole section is going to vibe the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only say from my perspective, right? If you were to give 3 themes of community care, there's a really good chance that it would be different topics. It might look completely different because your life is different. Your needs are different. So the
Yeah.
best thing that we can do, you know what I mean, is include other people. So it was always intentional. And if anything, it was one of the biggest challenges was kind of proving that this works and it will work exactly how it's supposed to. And it probably wasn't until the second to last draft when everybody was like, hey, you know, this is kind of a good book. I was like, no shit,
You a
bro.
motherfucker.
You know,
I've been trying to tell you.
okay,
Look,
right.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't know who was in the room trying to tell you not to, but I am so, not just as a reader, right? As a person who loves reading and getting an opportunity to see into the minds of other people in this way through this version of art. But as a person who is so deeply committed to liberation in all of its ways, this was the absolute right move. I actually think, again, you know I love you, and you know that I think you're profoundly amazing and you're a wonderful writer, and everything that comes out of your mouth is glorious. Mostly, obviously, we got to leave some space for humanity, and because I know you'd be like, that's not true. And I don't know that, to your point, like, I don't know that it would have hit the same without the additional stories. I think that, you know, you always talk about like well, not you, but like as a society, right? We talk about what does it require when we're looking at writers to create a credible narrator or a credible author when it's like, you know, kind of from your voice and your experience. And I don't know that I would have believed that you were really standing 10 toes down on community care if you hadn't have made this, you know, had a communal aspect to the book. Right? To your point, being like, you don't have to take my word for it. That's just my experience. Like, here's all these other people. And together as a collective, we have birthed, right, this thing. So good job. And I hope people listen to you in those rooms moving forward.
Thank you.
And you can send them that.
Right?
Consumer review says y'all was wrong and Tammy was right. Right. But on that note, right, that's why, you know, bringing back to the question, that's why I said in May of 2024, how are you personally, just for yourself, how are you defining community care?
You know, it's funny in regard of my communal care because I've always been surrounded by community. You know, I'm the youngest, come from a small town, you know, so everybody know I've always been part of communities. And yet I wrote this book during the pandemic when I was quarantining alone. So I moved back to New York and I've been bumping, you know, back and forth from New York and Miami since October. And I really like, you know how they say astronauts, when they come back to Earth, like their bodies are weird and they need this time. That's how I have felt since I've come back. So for me, community is really just being with my family. Okay. It really is getting back grounded to who I am. You know, no one is better at helping me stay grounded and recognizing my needs, things like that. So I've been hanging out, you know, occasionally with my friends and just getting back in the earth and shit, you know, like just like enjoying myself. But it definitely looks like time with my family. Someone's birthday has never meant more to me than what it mean. I will fly for your birthday. I will buy for your birthday. I will dance for your birthday. Just to be back with my family is like, it kills me. I love it. So that's definitely what it looks like for me right now. And as somebody that's been quarantined for so long, you know, I remember we talked about this back in California about how I can be a little bashful when it comes to promotion for the book.
Mm-hmm.
And even at this big age of mine, you know, I just turned 42, I'm still reconciling with the reality that, you know, and I think it goes back to food service and performance. There was so long of a period when I had to perform. I think that I've just got this thing in me where I literally cannot do it. I think it's how I got out of anti-racism so quick. So I love to mention my book. I love a good review. You know, I love when somebody take a photo because they got the book. But at the same time, you know, I feel like I'm selling a book, not Girl Scout cookies. And I can get out here every day and be like, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, buy my, you know what I mean? And then you're going to buy the book this one time. It's going to get on the New York Times one week. Everybody going to have the book that week and nobody going to read it because they didn't even want to read it to begin with. I made them buy it because I inundated them with it. I believe in my book. I believe in my art. I believe in my mission. So I don't feel, you know, so panini pressed to be out here every day, every week and out reel myself and talk about it constantly. But I do feel like it needs my support and I give it that. But it's funny how it even tends to clash with my community care sometimes. I've had this conversation with white people because they discuss the importance of online promotion. And that sounds great if you are not shadow banned, if you are not a Black person, if you are able to act like there are not 7 genocides going on, when you are a person that is, you know, a part of your community, when you are somebody that people look at not as a product endorser, as a human being that actually provides things with integrity, that people that fuck with me would look at me like I'm crazy if I got up here and started like, oh, you know, and by the way, check out this Fashion Nova bathing suit. You know, like,
Right.
what are we doing? I
Yeah.
can't get away with what Colleen Hoover could get away with. I can't
Yep.
use my platform and exploit people that follow me. And you got to remember, it's people that been donating to get me groceries from 5-6 years ago. So
Right.
no, I cannot suddenly take this space where I was being honest about, you know, having severe periodontal disease, being honest about being hungry, being honest about signing a 5-figure book deal, and now just halt everything so everybody can buy 5 copies of my book. I can't do it. I'm not built like that. And it wouldn't be right. And that's not even how community works. So, you know, for me right now, it's so funny that community really does look like me sitting my ass down because as I'm about to come back out into this world and talk about this product that I have, and at the end of the day, that's what it is. I don't want to fool anybody. It is a book and it's an art. But the second that I begin to start selling it and advocating for it, campaign for it, you know, I am dancing in that little consumerism lane. And I don't want to know those steps. And I don't want to mimic that behavior. So I have this obligation to make sure that I'm so grounded that I can promote this with integrity and that I'm not so thirsty for the clicks and so thirsty to make the list that, you know, I lose sight of that. So yeah, I believe it or not, community care is definitely still at the forefront.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the important piece, right? When you really live this life, when this is really a cornerstone of how you live, the first thing is that you want to make sure you're always doing it with integrity. And then the second thing is it's mutable because what you need at any given moment is going to be different. And so it becomes a practice instead of this like, you know, clear-cut rubric, which is also why like I mean, sure you could have put some journal prompts in here. I'm sure you could have figured something out, right? But I think the point instead is that this is an opportunity to help others just in their inquiry, in their discovery of like, what does that mean to them, right? And it's an exposure to a different way of operating and looking at things and thinking about life. I obviously also very selfishly want everybody to read your book. That's why we're talking about it here. And because I'm gonna big you up and cheerlead for you from now until kingdom come. Maybe not your biggest, probably your mom is your biggest cheerleader. Shout out mom. Hey mom, hey girl. It was so lovely meeting
She
her
said
in
hi, by the
LA.
way. She loves her wheeze.
I love her. I love her too. My
She
mom
really
also.
does.
My mom is actually with my grandmother right now. And I told her we were recording. She was like, tell her I said hi. I said, okay, I will.
Aw, I love how we all hit it off like that.
I know. I love that our moms love each other and they hit it
Right?
off and they had a grand old time.
Right?
I was like, not y'all becoming friends.
I know.
But you know, I want everyone to buy your book, but I also think that's a part of community care, right? When you are truly embedded with people that care for you and care for your well-being and are so supportive of you in a way that also, like, if this was a trash book, I also would have been like, Tamela, I love you. What happened? You know, I'd be gentle about it.
Right.
But that's also, you know, like, let's be real. That's also the truth of community. Like, somebody who really cares about you is gonna shout your praises from the mountaintops, whether you're present or not. But they're also gonna let you know when you're bugging, or maybe it wasn't your best work, and like, what happened, right? But this is amazing, and I want everybody to read it. And so, I think you let your community speak for you. I think to your point, yeah, you know, if you was a white girl named Jessica, who was not facing shadow banning, maybe that would be a different game if you also had been, you know, faking the funk on your IG for 1,000 years. But that's not who you are. You know, and I think that that's going to shine through because somebody's already winning awards. So, before we wrap up, other than everybody go buy this book, because I think that even if you're already practicing community care, even if you think you're already practicing liberation, I think it is just a beautiful reminder that you're not in this dance, right? We keep calling it a dance. You're not in the dance alone. Like I said, I've been practicing liberation for my whole life in different variations. I haven't known any other way. I was radicalized very young, as you know. And this book, sir, was just so serving to my soul. So I think everybody can benefit from reading this. So that is my plug for this book. And before we wrap up, is there anything else that either we didn't mention or we didn't talk about that you want to make sure that you leave with the people in this moment?
Yeah, you know what? Activism, you do what you got the capacity to do. And instead of comparing, you know, or trying to save the world and you don't even make up your bed that day, just work at your capacity. Because you know, so often the past 6 months I'll be feeling like, does this shit even matter? Why am I talking about this thing with all these other things? And it took a while for me to literally remember that, like, this work that I do has always been important. And it doesn't become unimportant now. You know, I think that a lot of us gotta find our position. A lot of us gotta be rooted in our position. A lot of us gotta expand our positions. You know, we're all in different positions. So I wouldn't dare tell anyone to do less if they can do more, or tell somebody to do more if they need to do less. But I really think that, you know, we should always push the envelope of being of service. And sometimes it starts on your own block. Sometimes it starts with just being a decent human being. But I hope that we remember that it all matters. It all adds up in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually, I really want to reinforce this point, because I recognize, as somebody else who, you know, used to do a lot of other stuff on the internet, that, and we've talked about this, right? Like, this feels it feels like there's nothing else that we should be talking about other than the 7 genocides that are going on in the world, and all the other various forms of hate that are exploding through, policy and law. And you have to care for yourselves, right? We a lot of times talk about activism or, liberation and liberation ethos just through this lens of the actionability. And we ignore the piece that, of the community care, the self-care, the rest, the joy, the ease, right? Liberation is not just about doing what we can within our capacity to create space for others in their humanity, but it's also for demanding the full expression of our humanity be accepted, right? It's about making sure that we are tending to ourselves and we're tending to each other, and we are being gentle with ourselves and we are being gentle with each other, and we are really still fully living our lives in the entire spectrum, right? And not denying any parts of ourselves. And so if nothing else, because I know there's still some people that are like, I can only read books about things that are going to change the world. This will make you a better collective community member for sure, but it will also help you in the way that you start to think about how you divest from how hyperproductivity has now found itself in our activism, and how all of those forms of oppressive, dominant socialization are now very much a part of the way that we are being told we're supposed to show up, in activism, in accompliceship, so on and so forth. So that is a really important point that we got to leave people with. Everybody go buy this book. Tammy, I can't wait to see you.
Same. I'll be out there.
No, I'm coming to New York.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All right, y'all. That is all we've got for today. I hope you enjoyed part 1 and part 2 with the one and only Tamela Gordon. All of the links for all of the things are in the show notes. And please be sure to go and pre-order the book. It comes out in June, right? That's when they start dropping them?
June 18th.
June 18th. I knew it was June. Perfect. So get your book now. It'll come out June 18th. And, it may or may not be one of our book club books for 2024. So you might as well get it now and start reading it, because we are going to discuss it in the collective. Maybe Tamela, you'll come back and you'll join us for that conversation.
Oh, I would love that.
Maybe. All right. Y'all heard it. It's happening. All right. I appreciate you so much, boo. And until next time, y'all. Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the episode. It would mean the world to me if you could show me some love by sharing the show, rating, and leaving a review. And if you want to dig just a little bit deeper into community, join me over on Patreon. Subscribe to the Substack for more Weezisms, or you can find me on the socials at According to Weez. All right, y'all. That's all I got. Until next time.